President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, addresses the nation in a moment. Stay tuned. The President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, addresses the nation in a moment. Stay tuned.
Fellow Ambazonians, on this day, 5 years ago, we all rose as one nation to assert the independence of our beloved country, Ambazonia. This solemn act of restoration was our collective resolve to finally terminate 6 decades of annexation, colonization, and subjugation by our eastern neighbor, La République du Cameroon, which had held us in a chokehold all this while. Some enlightened leaders had attempted to do this in the past for the people. Individuals like Fon Gojidinka and Justice Alobwede, but without groundswell support. This time, the people decided to do it for the leaders. That's why this is the people's fight. Several attempts by our forebears to release us as a people from this stranglehold were either ignored, ridiculed, or violently suppressed. Many of them were assassinated and some died in dungeons, serving life sentences handed down to them by La République du Cameroon colonial kangaroo courts, if they were lucky at all to have their day in court. As I address you today, more than 50,000 of our compatriots, mostly civilians going about their daily lives, have been massacred by French Cameroon. Going by these figures, on average, at least 27 of our citizens are massacred every single day these past 5 years, meaning more than one Ambazonian is killed every hour from the day we restored our independence. Putting this in perspective, before I finish addressing you tonight, at least one Ambazonian civilian must have been summarily murdered by French Cameroon soldiers, just for being Ambazonian. This genocidal war declared on us by the 90-year-old dictator Paul Biya on the 30th of November 2017 is raging, and our people are going through this horror in pain and in plain sight while the world watches on. This is our reality daily. Let us on this solemn national occasion remember all our fellow compatriots who have been killed during these 6 years of resistance, our self-defense forces who volunteered to take the front line to defend our people against this barbarism, and the thousands of innocent civilians massacred, some burnt alive in their homes. A moment of silence, please. We all lay our wreaths on the graves we know, and for all our innocent ones abducted, killed, and buried in unknown graves, we say rest in power. Permit me to say Happy Independence Day to you all, Ambazonians. I invite all the nations of the world to join us as we celebrate our Independence Day as scripted on the charters of the United Nations. Unlike any other day, today's occasion pays tribute to the resilience of a people who give meaning to the resolutions of the United Nations General Assembly by not only restoring but defending our right to self-determination. Like Nigeria, our neighbors to the west, we were supposed to be celebrating our twin Independence Day with pomp. But no, not when our streets are still wet with the innocent blood of our heroes and the tears of our helpless people. Not when our killers, bound by a barbaric oath, have made many of our kindreds homeless and stateless. Not when 50,000+ of our people are crying out for vengeance in mass graves. Not when our intelligent ones are languishing behind bars in the darkest of inhumane cells. The most important thing we, the survivors, must celebrate today is our courage to challenge our fears and correct this error and ensure truth and justice prevails. Today, I have come to reveal to our distinguished family of Ambazonia that the old order of French Cameroon's tyranny is over. It is on a state of collapse, giving way to a new order that speaks of the inevitability of our emergence as the 55th nation of Africa. Yesterday, we were considered by La République as Anglophiles, no more. Today, we are not only respected, we are feared. Yesterday, we were considered less than intelligent, no more. Today, they want to all speak some form of English to fake their relationship and love for us. Yesterday, they all made careers out of bad-mouthing Ambazonia, no more. Today, the Atanganjis, the Tassons, Musonge, Ngolengole Frundi, and the CPDM cabal have lost every chance they thought they had of winning La République's Traitor of the Era award, because they no longer call the shots in Ambazonia. The old order has fallen as life in La République is dictated by what we do in Ambazonia. The one issue they despised and neglected has become the existential factor that will determine whether we live as two separate nations or there will be no La République du Cameroon as we know it. Fellow compatriots, let us not forget how we got here. As a UN trust territory, our territory, the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia, was assigned to Britain to prepare us for independence or self-governance. We achieved self-governance through a vibrant democratic system under British trusteeship, but instead of requesting our credentials for membership to the United Nations, Britain and the United Nations ignored us, contrary to the provisions of the United Nations Trusteeship Agreement. Therefore, the idea of illegally imposing on us the option of achieving independence by joining, as crafted in the 1961 plebiscite question, was the product of an international conspiracy to hand us over to another UN trust administrator, France, and La République du Cameroon, their proxy, with no treaty of union, to recolonize us under the smokescreen of a non-existent federation of two states of equal status. That was very disingenuous. Now, Ambazonia is the only UN Category B trust territory in Africa that is yet to be truly decolonized, as was prescribed by the United Nations. Why? But let me assure you that our complete decolonization and recognition as the 55th nation of Africa and the 194th nation in the world is only a matter of when, not if, because truth and justice shall prevail. Make no mistake, there is no turning back on this course. Not after 50,000 and counting of our compatriots slaughtered in an unprecedented genocide. Ambazonia is free and is a free country. Our heroes and heroines paved this path to freedom and with their blood. We will not let them down. This generation will resist this tyranny and barbarism as long as it takes. And if need be, and I hope not, we will relay the baton of resistance to the next generation, and we will not give up. We are a peaceful people, as the whole world can attest. Only a peace-loving people can endure such cruel annexation and dehumanization for 6 decades without a war. Only a peace-loving people can endure such levels of man-to-man wickedness and disdain from a fellow human being without revenge, without bloodbath. When we finally were pushed to the slaughter in 2017, we had to decide either to resist the cruel colonizer or allow ourselves to be killed, all killed. We solicited a peaceful resolution to this conflict via the Swiss-led process under my leadership. Major international stakeholders endorsed this initiative towards a peaceful resolution of this conflict, notably the United States, Canada, and all EU nations, AU, etc. But true to their slave master's creed, La République du Cameroon stayed on their high horses. They shunned the opportunity to participate in a peaceful option. They categorically rejected dialogue, ignored the direct counsel of the United States of America that told them this problem cannot be resolved militarily. They opted to kill their way to normalcy, even when they know that will be a path to our mutual annihilation. Let me address dictator Paul Biya of La République du Cameroon and the sponsors of this genocide in Ambazonia. Your arrogance in rejecting any form of international mediation is exacerbating the little resistance that our forces had as we defend ourselves within the boundaries of our territory. Take this seriously. Trying to gather or consult some so-called Anglophones anywhere in the diaspora for some informal talks or consultation does not sound like a strategy to end this war. La République du Cameroon has never dialogued with us. In 1960-61, in Fumban, La République aborted the first genuine dialogue and opted for unilateralism. And in 1966, they dissolved our institutions without dialogue. In 1972, they changed the form of state between a supposed two states of equal status without dialogue. In 1984, they changed the name of the country, reverting to their former name, the name they used, and they seceded from the experimental union without dialogue. In 1993 and 94, they refused to dialogue with us. In 1996, they refused to organize a sovereign national conference we demanded for genuine dialogue. In 2017, they refused to dialogue with our consortium of civil society organizations. And in 2022, they rejected the Swiss mediation process for genuine dialogue. They are, however, lying to the international community that they have won the war. That peace has returned in Ambazonia and that reconstruction is already going on. Please, don't blame a serial liar. Blame those who continue to believe him. La République du Cameroon is free to do her endless circles of informal consultations with so-called Ambazonia leaders in the diaspora as they chose. But when they will be ready to meet Ambazonia, the IG will meet with them. It shall be government delegation versus government delegation. No more, no less. If the colonial government of La République du Cameroon is not part of any delegation, the government of Ambazonia shall not also be part of any so-called delegation to meet whoever comes in the name of La République du Cameroon. If after 3 years of toying with and outrightly trashing the Swiss mediation, La République is only interested in orchestrating third-party informal consultations with no direct government involvement, it means they have outrightly rejected the path of peace. While they contemplate using their so-called special forces to kill more of our innocent population, we cannot afford to take our eyes off the war for a minute. We will match La République du Cameroon strategy for strategy. We must match them in height and in breadth, in firepower. Ambazonia will have to deal decisively with all trespassers and facilitators of this genocide on our people. To do so effectively, we will take out every legitimate target anywhere and anytime. The enemy's manipulative narrative to water down the genocidal war and market it as an internal crisis instead of an international armed conflict is in complicity with the ICRC. It is their unconvincing denial that we are two states of equal status and a strategy to push back the do-nothing international community from even contemplating a direct foreign intervention. It is morally dishonest for the International Red Cross to describe what is happening in Ukraine as international conflict. What is happening in Central African Republic and Congo as armed conflicts, but classify the war in Ambazonia as a mere internal conflict, internal crisis. Such assisted delay tactics by a reputed organization like the International Committee of Red Cross will only escalate the cost of this war and shatter La République's economy, which is now on life support. The ICRC should be professional and reclassify the war in Ambazonia as an international armed conflict. That's the right thing to do. French Cameroon got corrupt Cometa to fragment our dreaded People's IG. He went on to enthrone 3 French-citizens in 6 months to head his association of spoilers. Little known to the self-styled kingmaker, this fight is the people's fight. It is not a Cometa family meeting or association. Every organization is only relevant to the extent that it is representative of what its people want. Otherwise, it is dead on arrival. La République du Cameroon agents then proceeded to threaten our official spokesman of our brave ARFs on the home front, just to project the La République mouses as spokesmen with no legitimacy. Now, they are parading a pseudo ground zero government masterminded by certain prisoners in Kondengi and fake profiles pretending to speak for the home front. The enemy is employing all forms of maneuvers to delegitimize or bypass the Ambazonian people's leadership so that they can choose for us compromised agents and hired spoilers to represent us on the table. They are trying this after they tried and failed to use leaders in prison to circumvent the IG and alter the power structure of our struggle to negotiate with those they choose. La République du Cameroon dialogues with genuine leaders, not when they are free, but when their lives are in captivity. Meaning they want to dialogue with Ambazonia on equal terms. Fellow Ambazonians, why have some spoilers caused you to hate Ambazonia for nothing and retired you from supporting the struggle? A true fighter for Ambazonia is as a dog to the hunter. We are relentlessly pursuing the prey for you, and you know it. We want to catch it because we know that that is what matters. If you are indeed a fighter too, you cannot hate the IG just because of what a certain Mr. I brought the deal or Mr. No Evidence told you about us. Because the hunting dog is the best among the hunter's dogs, notwithstanding its scars. How it barks does not matter. How nice looking it is does not matter. Shame on those who, instead of pursuing the struggle, are now sponsoring the factionalization of our struggle. May the blood of our innocent ones follow their families to their fourth generation. We have also received reliable intelligence that La République du Cameroon may release some of our political prisoners in the days ahead, in the hope of using them, or some of them, to engineer a one Cameroon solution. They want them to go out and convince our fighters and population to renounce us. It is the worst humiliation for a lion to become the security guard in a palace of goats after it is captured by error. They now think after 5 years of wearying the people through their scorched earth strategy, kidnappings and harassments, the people will celebrate any idea of ending the war on their terms. But that's a mistake. As they say, in every disappointment, there is an appointment. La République du Cameroon's intransigence has presented us with the option to use more tools in our diplomatic toolbox. The civilized world should interpret their recalcitrance vis-à-vis the genuine dialogue as a tacit encouragement of insecurity in an important part of the world where the interests of many are threatened, the Gulf of Guinea. We are intensifying our diplomatic offensive to win the hearts and consciences of sympathizers of our cause across the aisles. Remember the strides we have made diplomatically on the international scene. Resolutions passed by the United States Congress, notably the United States House of Representatives Resolution 358 of 23rd July 2019 and the U.S. Senate Resolution 684 of 1st January 2021 calling for a broad-based inclusive dialogue without preconditions towards a resolution of this conflict. B, the recommendations of the Subcommittee on International Human Rights of the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs and International Development of the House of Commons of Canada of March 1st, 2021, urging the government of Canada to mount an international campaign pressuring the government of Cameroon to allow the establishment of an independent fact-finding mission to investigate the conflict, including atrocity crimes and the root causes of this conflict. European Parliament resolution of 18th April 2018 and 25th November 2021 bordering on the human rights situation during this conflict and recommending immediate reinitiation of peace talks to resolve this conflict, while urging international organizations to help facilitate dialogue by offering to take a mediation role. The U.S. government's designation of Cameroon for temporal protected status from the 7th of June 2022 aimed at granting temporary residence to our asylees fleeing the genocidal war back home, just to cite this few. And then also, the resolution by the Black Congressional Caucus of yesterday, Thursday, the 29th of September 2022, calling on the Biden administration to intervene directly to support the peace efforts and asked the government of Cameroon to pull out her troops from Ambazonia and engage in genuine dialogue with Ambazonia. This is not an exhaustive list of our achievements diplomatically. I assure you that there is still more in the pipeline, as our robust diplomatic teams are leaving no stone unturned to find new paths on this frontier. While doing so, we must engage in unabated military response to hasten our victory. Brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces, my dear comrades in battle, today is the day that we fly our flags high with pride and show respect to our beautiful country, honor and our heroes, and assert dominance in our territory, and reassure our people of our patriotic resolve and capabilities to continue to defend them and liberate our homeland. I salute you all, brave ones, during this solemn national event, the commemoration of our independence. Thank you for your service. I call on all of you to join hands as one ARF united force in Ambazonia to defend our homeland. You are children of destiny. You were born to do what you are doing now. Liberate your people. Don't allow manipulators to tell you your fight is against this or that. Those who are advising you to unite and rebel against the IG authority are not fighting for a free Ambazonia. They are either hungry or deceptive. A group of dogs were hunting an antelope, and suddenly some of the dogs raised emotion, saying they should pause and change their leadership first. What do you think will happen to the antelope they were hunting? If you are fighting for an independent Ambazonia, then you need us. But if you are fighting for your private gain, then you don't certainly need the IG. A good soldier will never turn his arm against anyone who is helping him to conquer his enemy. Kidnappers and those abducting priests should be ashamed of themselves. That is un-Ambazonian. The good book says there is a time for everything. There is the time to be laser focused and confront the barbaric genocidaires as a people yearning for speedy victory. This is the time to point our guns at the enemy only and not on ourselves. This is the time to escalate the defense of homeland with rock-solid determination. This is the time to speak to the international community as one man, one nation, one leader, one army, and one chain of command. This is the time to participate actively by drafting all of us in our local government areas and counties to facilitate the battle task of our brave Ambazonia Restoration Forces. My dear compatriots, all of you in the home front, fellow Ambazonians, you are the pivot around which this liberation movement spins. From the time of the consortium till now, you have shown remarkable patience and resilience in the face of a provoking enemy and hardship. Your adherence to our people-inspired Monday Ghost Towns and Country Sunday voluntarily has baffled the enemy. This is your own patriotic symbol of peaceful resistance that reminds the enemy and the world constantly that Ambazonia is not a diaspora invention. You don't observe our lockdowns by fear. You do so by conviction and purpose. That's why we know we are in this together. I want to advise all those renegade forces who are trying to be calling lockdowns for no just reason and killing people at random to enforce compliance. This is confusing and ill-advised. I call on the population to withdraw their respect for such individuals or groups. Concerning the education of our children, which is an area of grave concern to all of us, our stance has not changed for over 3 years now due to the persistent insecurity. We continue to caution parents to put the safety of our kids first and assess critically the security situation in their areas before deciding or not to send them to school. I am pleased to see that you understand our position. All those gambling with this issue are not wise. We did not declare this war, so we cannot end it. Those who declared it should end it tomorrow. Those who can end this war and have not should tell us if their own children can go to school without a minimal expectation of safety and security. Hence, any activity that is dependent on the state of insecurity in Ambazonia is not within our jurisdiction to decide unless there is a peacekeeping force on the ground. In this regard, last year we proposed a more ideal approach to the United Nations to create buffer zones to allow these children to go to school in a completely serene environment. Unfortunately, our appeal was not heeded by United Nations Organization for OCHA and so-called NGOs. Worse still, that the public agents, true to their diabolic plans, will continue to kidnap teachers and students in order to package their favorite propaganda that Ambazonians are criminals, as was the case in Bamenda a few weeks ago. Unfortunately for them, that school was guarded by their own colonial forces, and they never reacted when the so-called kidnappers drove in with a car and picked up the administrators and children and drove away uninterrupted. This is the kind of enemy we are dealing with, an enemy that commits heinous crimes against the same people it pretends to be protecting just to sell a false narrative to the international stakeholders. To our beloved millions of refugees scattered around the world in dire conditions, I say to you, there is hope. Hope that one day you will return to a liberated homeland sooner than you may think. This senseless war decreed on us by dictator Paul Biya of neighboring La République du Cameroon, with a vile agenda to annihilate our people through a well-planned and executed genocide, is the fight of our lives. I feel your pain and admire your resilience in your daily struggles in strange lands. Endure, but remain vigilant. Victory is coming. Our motherland will embrace you one day as its proud citizens. You left all you had in our beautiful country and fled for safety after your villages were burned by a barbaric genocidal regime. 500 of our villages burned down, with some of your children, mothers, brothers, sisters, and parents and grandparents roasted in their homes as they were too frail to escape the raging flames. That is our story. And to think that this can happen in the 21st century in front of the world is despicable. Unfortunately, you are not Ukraine refugees to attract the world's humanitarian machinery as it mobilizes billions of dollars to rescue and resettle them speedily. You are Ambazonians. Continue to be hopeful as you go through unbearable challenges in foreign lands where you find yourself now. But remember to respect the laws of the country hosting you. Those who want to join the resistance are free to do so also. Consult our self-defense hierarchy. We will help you. We cannot do enough to ameliorate your social situation due to our limited resources, but whatever the Department of HSS of the IG presents to you as humanitarian support, receive it and share it amongst yourselves as an Ambazonian family. Let me use this opportunity to appreciate neighboring and faraway nations hosting our refugees and helping them to resettle to a new life. Once more, I thank humanitarian organizations in Nigeria, Ghana, Brazil, Cyprus, etc. for doing their part in supporting our refugees and IDPs, most of whom are in constant need of basic day-to-day amenities. Fellow comrades, the stakes of this liberation struggle are high. No liberation struggle in the history of the world has come this far in a relatively short frame of time. We cannot afford to miss our opportunity. This cause is greater than all of our personal ambitions and egos. Our generational devoir is too important for us to gamble with. The splintering of our cells will only slow down the moving train to Boya, but not stop it. I call on all of you comrades, those who still believe in our quest for restoration and recognition, to bury the hatchet and come back on board. Fellow citizens, victory is near, but more sacrifice is needed. Let us not relent in our pursuit of freedom. Let me rehearse you the dream I have for Ambazonia. In my lifetime as your president, God willing, the Ambazonian flag shall fly the skies of Buea and be hosted at Abemukon Square. The Ambazonian dollar shall be soon used to buy gari and water fufu in Awing or Ikome. The Ambazonian army shall march on the streets of Kumba and Kumbo with pride and respect. The Ambazonian anthem shall be played in stadia across Limbe and Bamenda. Ambazonian patriots shall open stock exchanges in Kumba, in Mamfe, and in Bamenda. The Ambazonian passport shall be highly respected as #1 travel document in Africa. Ambazonian regulators shall issue licenses and patents to all corporate bodies wishing to do business in Ambazonia without discrimination, without bribery, without corruption. Ambazonian cassava and red oil shall feed the world. Ambazonian National Guards shall parade the seaports of Tiko and Victoria, the airports of Bisongabang, Bali, and Santa. Ambazonian goods and services shall be sold and exchanged in the international markets. And Ambazonian technology shall provide the engine to the African economy. Ambazonian schools shall be the citadel of global education. Ambazonian mothers shall give birth to Ambazonian kings and queens in hospitals built and funded by the Ambazonian government. Ambazonia agriculture, produce, and manufacturing centers shall be life givers and savers, even in French Cameroon. Ambazonian engineers shall connect Mamfe and Bamenda with standard gauge and high-speed trains. Honor to our heroes. Viva our valiant Ambazonia Restoration Forces. Viva the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And God bless our beautiful nation. Thank you.
Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. I urge the world to stand up against injustice being done to the people of Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Fijne onafhankelijkheidsdag aan de mensen in British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia. Ik vraag de wereld op te staan tegen het onrecht aan de mensen in Ambazonia. Free Ambazonia. Happy Independence Day to the people of British Southern Cameroon, Ambazonia.